Of two different worlds in the boxing ring. In one dressing room, the vibrant, sometimes noisy world of Hector Macho Camacho, 24 years old, Puerto Rican-born, New York-bred, winner of 2 world titles already, and angling toward a third. And just a few feet away, the dressing room of the very quiet and contemplative Howard Davis Jr., once the best-known amateur boxer in the world, but after 10 years as a professional, still without a world title, he can angle toward a shot at one today. You'll see it live on Wide World of Sports. Now we bring you back live to the Convention Center in Atlantic City. Sold out today for a fascinating bout between Hector Camacho and Howard Davis Jr. Hello, I'm Tim Lampley. As you watch this fight, much of the focus is on a young man whose career hasn't quite been what many thought it would be. Hector Macho Camacho.
Macho time. It's my way. If there's no way, there's no way.
Hector Camacho's way was learned on the streets of Spanish Harlem, where he developed his style and survived a childhood of street fighting and petty crime. It's a far cry from Camacho's preferred environment for training, the peaceful surroundings of Lewiston, Florida. He sets up camp here in a rural zone adorned with symbols of his former lifestyle. No street battles in Lewiston, just the battle for boxing excellence. And despite an unending succession of trainers and handlers and an often chaotic approach to the sport, the so-called macho man has managed to remain unbeaten.
Pound for pound, I'm the best fighter in the world, regardless of anybody else. I am the most charismatic fighter out there. It's just a lack of fighting that's been hurting me. But, you know, I'm coming back. I ain't going nowhere. I'm still young, 24 years old, mean, cute, handsome, husky. Hey, you'll see me.
Hector Camacho captured his first title as a super featherweight in 1983. And when weight and managerial problems forced him into the lightweight division, he made the most of his opportunity against champion Jose Luis Ramirez, flooring him and scoring a convincing unanimous decision for his second title. But in his first title defense against ex-champion Edwin Rosario, he faced his stiffest challenge, as he was hurt badly in round 5 for the first time in his career, and then staggered again later in round 11. Camacho hung on to capture a controversial split decision, but the criticism mounted and peaked in his last fight. Though he floored Cornelius Boza Edwards with a combination in round 1, the rest of this fight was spent in reverse, dancing, jabbing, moving away from Boza in an entirely defensive fashion. The critics argued that Camacho was no longer entitled to his image as the self-proclaimed macho man.
Macho man is great, you know. If I'm too complicated for the people, just tune in, keep watching me. What can I tell you? It's macho time.
And if the story of Camacho is that of a man trying to live up to his own identity, the story of Howard Davis Jr. is one of large but unfulfilled potential. Today's bout may represent his last best chance to try to get in line for the world championship he wants so badly. Howard Davis was the best known, the most successful, and perhaps the most talented member of the '76 Olympic team that produced 5 gold medalists. 4 went on to capture professional world titles, and Howard had his chances against champion Jim Watt. Davis faltered in the hostile Glasgow environment and lost a unanimous decision. Against champion Edwin Rosario in San Juan, Davis staggered Rosario and seemed to have the title won. But with only seconds left, he walked into a left hook and lost a close split decision. Since then, he's moved up a weight class and earned a hard-fought draw with undefeated '84 Olympian Meldrick Taylor. A victory today could bring Davis another chance to join his fellow Montreal gold medalists as a world champ. And as he told Alex Wallow yesterday, he enters with new confidence.
Well, you know, I generally don't make a prediction, Alex. I feel very strongly I'm going to knock him out. And I usually come in with the attitude I'm going to win, period. But for some strange reason, through the months I've been training for this fight, weeks I've been training for this fight, I've been coming up with a little monster inside me that's saying that's going to tell me I'm going to knock him out. I feel very strongly that I will.
And having now heard from both of the fighters, let's hear from ABC Sports boxing expert Alex Wallow. Alex, I think those are fascinating stories surrounding both men today.
Jim, in terms of Hector Camacho, he needs to prove something in the ring here today. We've just seen he's had 2 straight unimpressive performances. He has not knocked out an opponent in his last 5 fights. He's been inactive for 7 months. And that spotlight, which Hector craves so desperately, has begun to shift away from him. A win today is not enough. Hector needs to be macho, not just at press conferences, not on the streets, but in the ring.
What about his opponent, Howard Davis Jr.?
Well, the key word here is opponent. Howard is again cast in the role of opponent, a stepping stone for Hector Camacho, as he was last year against Meldrick Taylor. But against Taylor, he fought a tough and courageous fight. He says he's prepared and determined to do the same thing here today. Both fighters have plenty of incentive because the winner almost certainly will get a shot at the junior welterweight title sometime this year.
All right, Alex, and both of the fighters making their way or are already in the ring. In fact, Howard Davis Jr. already in there, and you look at Hector Macho Camacho as he brings his considerable entourage with him toward ringside. We'll have one commercial message here, and then we'll be back to start the fight. Now we are back live in Atlantic City, and you look at the tail of the tape between Camacho and Davis. Davis 7 years older. He is also taller and has something of a reach advantage. Camacho had to struggle to make weight at 141 pounds. Took him a half hour, and he weighed in 3 times, Alex.
That was last night, so he should have recovered overnight and shouldn't be weakened too much by that. But by 3.5 pounds, Camacho is the heaviest of his career. And I think one of the intangibles here is how will that affect him? Will he sacrifice any of his legendary speed, and will he be stronger than he's been in recent fights?
A quick word on strategy in the bout.
Well, Camacho starts very, very fast. Davis is a very slow starter. If Davis is to win, he must stop Camacho in his tracks with some solid power punches early. If he can do that, Hector will get on his bicycle. If he cannot make Hector respect his punching power, Camacho will steamroller Davis. Both men are extremely quick, as you pointed out, with outstanding boxing skills. One difference which may be significant, Camacho has never been down, and Howard Davis has been down 10 times as a pro.
Under the rules of the New Jersey Athletic Control Board, the 3 knockdown rule, the mandatory 8 count, the standing 8 count are all in effect. Scoring on the 10-point must system by 3 judges. The referee does not score in the bout. The referee is Paul Venti of Bayonne, New Jersey. The judges, all from New Jersey, John Stewart, Frank Brunette, and Lynn Carter. And right now, ring announcer Ed Darien finishes with his festivities. Referee Paul Venti steps in to talk to Howard Davis and Hector Macho Camacho.
And very interestingly, if you're thinking about the psyche of Hector Camacho, and if he will come out and try to be impressive, that very mixed reception that you heard him get in his introduction could be incentive. He heard boos in his last fight with Cornelius Boza Edwards, and he heard boos in his introduction here today. How that will affect him remains to be seen, but it could be a key to the fight.
Round 1 begins. This is a 10-round fight. And Camacho starts out coming forward. Goes without saying, but nevertheless, we will point out for anyone relatively new to the sport, Camacho is a southpaw, and Davis a conventional right-handed fighter.
And it is very interesting that yesterday I asked Howard Davis how many southpaws had he fought in his career, and he said, I don't remember fighting any. And I said, well, Jim Watt was a southpaw, referring to when he made his first try for a world title and got beat. He smiled sheepishly and said, yeah, I've been trying to forget that fight. But Jim Watt, I believe, is the only southpaw Howard has ever faced. So he will have to make an adjustment here. And for a slow starter, a man naturally a slow starter as Howard is, he likes to figure out his opponent. Generally, it also takes you some time. Good left, good straight left there by Camacho, and Davis is a little bit wobbly there, just a little bit, as he held on. The point I was trying to make was, it also takes you some time to figure out a southpaw. Another straight left by Hector Camacho. That one did not land full.
Davis, however, did land a jab, which was his first effective blow of the bout. We're about halfway through round 1. Hector Camacho has seized the initiative in the first part of the round.
And this kind of Howard Davis is the old Howard Davis, the Howard Davis who never set himself, who tried to punch and move out of the way of punches at the same time. He's going to have to find a way to plant his feet if he's going to win the fight.
Not the effective Howard Davis who was able to punch inside against Choo-Choo Dixon and Meldrick Taylor in his last 2 fights.
You saw Davis land his jab, and then Camacho countered himself with his own jab right over Davis's. That is something that Howard Davis is not used to having happen. He's not used to people who have the speed of Hector Camacho. Meldrick Taylor, his opponent 2 fights ago, has tremendous hand speed, but did not use the jab very effectively in that fight.
Hector Camacho, one of the few fighters in the world who can actually claim a quickness and speed advantage, or at least he's likely to believe he has it, against Howard Davis.
There's Howard Davis on the ropes, not taking too much punishment. When he fought Meldrick Taylor, Howard laid on the ropes, covered up his head like he is there, and gave away the body. It'll be interesting to see if Hector Camacho, who is not known as a body puncher, will take the body that Howard Davis does give away in order to protect his fragile chin.
Davis hooking with the left. Before that, he tried the right cross, a little bit short with both punches.
And Paul Venti, the referee, warned Davis for holding behind the head and then throwing Camacho onto the ropes.
So round one comes to a close. It has been a Hector Camacho round. We are back as round two begins in Atlantic City, and Hector Camacho steps out of his corner with a right jab and a left to the body, and again takes control.
I was a little bit surprised Hector didn't start even faster. He clearly won the first round, but he was being careful. He was not jumping in. He was not... The crowd reaction at the beginning of this fight did not make him careless. He's still being careful. He still respects Davis. You heard the Davis corner there. Be first, John. Howard Davis has not been first. He's not been getting off first. And when he has flicked that jab, it's been a little bit of a lazy jab. He's got to snap his jab.
John, because Davis's nickname is John. His father, Howard Davis Sr., was nicknamed John.
Good body punches there. The right, those are devastating body punches by Hector Camacho. We said earlier he's not known as a body puncher, but if Howard Davis gives him that left side, he just showed there that he's going to take it. And there is Sugar Ray Leonard, a former teammate of Howard Davis's on the 1976 Olympic team, who was at ringside when Howard drew with Meldrick Taylor last year, and is back here again taking the time to watch his teammate. That was a close-knit team, that 1976 Olympic team under Sarge Johnson. And Howard Davis is not second to Sugar Ray Leonard in terms of wanting Howard Davis to get that dream and win that world title, and Sugar Ray Leonard is here trying to root his teammate home.
One thing becomes apparent here midway through round two, Alex. Camacho is forcing Davis to think so much about defending himself that Davis has no offense at all.
There's a right hand, a good right hand punch. The first time Howard Davis really set himself. But Camacho going away. This is not an unusual performance for Howard Davis. He always starts slowly. Now he's starting to set himself, and now he's backing Camacho up. Beautiful, beautiful right jab there by Hector Camacho.
But indeed, Davis has begun to open up for the first time in the bout. Just as I said that he had no offense, he threw that right cross, his best punch so far.
And he should maintain that momentum. He should keep Hector backing up. He shouldn't let Hector set himself. Because if he can make Hector respect his power, it'll be a different Hector Camacho in the ring with him. A less effective Hector Camacho.
Good right hand by Camacho. And he goes back to the body, where he's been very effective.
Fighting a smart fight. Two intelligent boxers. But right now, Camacho is putting it together better. One thing about Hector, and it was true, I think, of Sugar Ray Leonard in the Hagler fight. You get so dazzled by their hand speed, sometimes you forget to see if the punches land.
Round three begins in Atlantic City. If you are scoring the bout along with us at home, unofficially, we give the first two rounds to Hector Camacho. Good right hand by Camacho, countering as Davis tries to move in.
Hector Camacho is in range in this fight. He's staying closer to Howard Davis. He knows Davis has a height and reach advantage. He knows he has to get in there and mix it up. Take chances.
In response to those who